Hi Lorraine, Merry Christmas. I and Mon Chéri are here. We're going to give you some video tips on your computer since I can't be with you in person. So that's what this next few minutes will be spent with you to do this, and you can just do it over time, even once you get your computer, so that it makes a little bit more sense. It's up to you, but I just wanted you to have a little bit of support getting into it. It is a little bit different from a PC, and so I don't want you to get frustrated or give up before you really get to know it, because I think you'll like it more than a PC once you start feeling comfortable with it. So here we go. All right, here's your new MacBook, closed cover. Just wanted to show you the ports that it has on it. On this side, you have the audio port, which is the little circle one, and then two what they call C drives, I believe. And then the other side has the same two C drives. If you can see, there we go, the same two C drives. These can be used for charging the device, any of the four of them. And then I've bought you several adapter type devices that I will show you as well here in just a moment. But I want to show you, when you open your laptop, there is not a power button on the MacBooks. So anytime it's shut down, whenever it's opened, it will immediately reboot itself. So I'll give it just a minute to boot up so you can see how that works. And it's actually quite fast compared to most PCs. And then the first time you boot it up, you'll need to enter your password, which is your crop of choice. You can change that to be more secure later on if you'd like. And this, you have to enter that anytime you restart it when it's been shut down. So you can set it up to start or to log in with your fingerprint, but that's just from when it's been asleep. Once it's shut down, you will have to enter the password to open it back up. So that is how your computer starts itself, as you can see, pretty quick and easy. So now I will show you the adapter devices that you have coming in the package. Hi again. Okay, I'm going to show you your adapter cord now. As you can see, the C port that I was talking about that fits into any of the four ports on your computer, that's the main charging source of your computer. You can buy an extension that goes into this part that has about, I don't know, it's probably 2 to 3 more feet that will plug into the wall, that you could maybe use at home if you need more roaming space. But this is excellent for traveling because you usually don't need the extra roaming space just to charge it at night. And as long as you're using probably 60% of the battery and then recharging it back up, not leaving it plugged in and charging all the time, the battery should last you a good 8 hours just with regular work. So of course, the older it gets, the less that will be, so that it won't last as long. But at least to start with, it should last that long as you're not leaving it plugged in all the time, and it should be fine. So one of the things that I'm including in your package is this World Adapter Set, making sure that's in the view, so that you can take whichever knobby pieces you need to plug directly in wherever you're traveling. So how that works is this little US adapter piece can just pop right off like that. And like this is the UK adapter, and it just fits right in there. So you can plug it directly into a wall. You don't have to always have an adapter where you're going for your computer. So so anyway, I'm sending that to you as well. And then this is where, if you have the longer extension cord, it would plug into here as well, and then the plug-in piece would be at the other end of that. So and then I believe, yeah, this unplugs also, so you can have additional cords if you need other cords floating around to be able to plug in different places, whatever you need with that. The other thing that I am sending to you is a USB to AV adapter. That's what this is. This is mine, the one I already pulled out of a box. So this plugs directly into one of your C ports on your computer, and it has a USB, an HDMI, and the C port on it. So if you need to plug in something else through this C port, it's like a mini USB type plug. Anyway, if you need to plug in something else into this, I don't know that your charger would charge through this, but you could try it and see. Anyway, there's also another adapter that you can get. I know through Best Buy, it's $99, I think, and I already had these purchased, or I would have bought one of those. But it basically also fits into the C port. It actually takes up 2 of the C ports, and it has 2 USBs, the HDMI, a micro SD card, and the regular SD card slots. And so, and I think 2 maybe of the C ports. So you could definitely do more with it, but this is a good start anyway, and you can order that one if you want that one. And then the other thing that I'm sending to you is a C port to Ethernet adapter in case you're in a hotel that has cheap Wi-Fi, low quality Wi-Fi or something like that, and you need to plug into the Ethernet. You can use this because there's not an Ethernet port on your computer. And so you can plug this into the C port and then the Ethernet into the end, and you can get faster internet service that way. So that is your adapters and power cord that's going to be coming with the system. And you can let me know if you have any problems with any of it or questions along the way. All right. Okay, so one of the things that I want to show you is how to set your system preferences. So up here on the Apple icon, you can just mouse over it and select system, and yeah, you have to actually tap on the trackpad to open that, and then you can select system preferences. Right now your trackpad it's just one big pad, so you can touch anywhere, click once on the left or the right, as opposed to a PC, which is usually just the left, to select something. But then to double click, or what would be like a right click on a PC, on the Mac, you just use 2 fingers and select once. So I'll try to show you that here in a minute as well, but I just wanted to show you how to get into the system preferences. And in particular, notifications is one thing that I've already messed with a little bit for you, because personally, I don't like my emails and things like that popping up when I'm showing my screen in meetings. And so I've already gone into your Outlook, and let's see what else. Outlook may be the only one that I went into. Not sure where your Skype is. Messages is another one. You can set it up to basically send your text messages to your computer, which is actually quite nice. I didn't think I would like it, but I've kind of enjoyed being able to quickly respond to text messages directly on my device while I'm working, instead of having to pick up my phone and go that route. So, but I don't want them popping up on my screen. Instead, it just will show a bubble down here. Where's my mouse? There it is. Down here on your text messages, it'll show a red bubble, kind of like this one, if you have any new messages. But so I'm going to say, just for the sake of showing you, and then you can always come back in and change it if you do want it to pop up. But I'm going to say none. It will allow the bubble to show up down here to notify you that you have something, and I think it even bounces on the dock if you get a new message, but that way it's not showing up in on your screen when you're showing your screen in a meeting or something. So, and I would also do the same with Skype. I'm not really sure why I'm not seeing it here. It's kind of interesting because it is downloaded on your device, as you can see right here. So I'm not sure why it's not up here, but it may have its own settings, which I can look and see. But anyway, I just don't like messages popping up. It could be sensitive information or something, and it's not useful in a meeting. So I'm going to close that for now, but that's where you can change. I should have gone into the trackpad as well, because I wanted to show you this also. But any of the computer settings, you can come into here and just browse around and play with it so you can see what all is possible. So one of the things that I wanted to show you is on the gestures up here. Scroll and zoom is also, all of the things are set right now. And I'll just show you, I'm going to back out a little bit so you can see my hand as well. But if you touch the trackpad and then spread your fingers out, it will zoom into things. Obviously not this screen, so we'll look at that on something else. But anyway, this is where you can control all of that and how your trackpad reacts. So coming into more gestures, the reason I want to show you this is, I think this is where it is. Give me 1 second. Oh, point and click. I guess this is it. Okay, so so with the secondary click, which is what we call the right click on a PC, which is to see a menu of something, you would actually on the PC use 2 fingers to tap into, to basically press down and click so that it will open the right side menu. And so you can change that setting here if you don't want it to do that, if you know, and how you want it to work, things like that. But instead of, because the trackpad is all one solid piece, you just use 2 fingers instead of like the right side of the pad. The other thing that I changed on mine, right now it's set to, you have to press the trackpad and click on it when you want to select something. Whereas I have mine to just tap on it. So I don't actually have to click, I just tap. And to me that's faster and easier, but you can change these settings here. So I didn't change any of the settings for you, but because it's going to be based on personal preference. So I just wanted to show you where to change all of that. To get back to the main menu, just click this back arrow. And again, you can change all of your settings in here, however you want to change those. And then the Touch ID that I mentioned earlier, you can set that up right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click into it, but I'm not going to obviously set my finger up on it. But you would do that by clicking the Add a Fingerprint. And then just like your iPhone, back when your iPhone had the touchpad on it, or the finger pad, whatever it was called, the Mac has it too, but it's right over here. It's this little square right here. So that's where you'll do, when you click Add a Fingerprint, you'll just touch this space over and over to set it up for your fingerprint. And this is, again, you can set it up to be any of these. You can unlock your computer, use Apple Pay. When you download things from the iTunes store, if you want it to be based on, you know, you don't want to have to enter your Apple ID every time, you can have it set up to accept your fingerprint. So that is that. And then I'll just close those preferences right here. And that's an easy thing you probably already know, but anything that, I'm going to open Word document just as an example, but let's just open one of these that's got content in it so we can look at it a little bit. Anything on a Mac is going to close and open on the left, or minimize, close and minimize, I should say, on the left, as opposed to the PC that's always on the right. So that's another thing that's a little bit harder to get used to. But and then one of your concerns you had mentioned was zooming in and out. And so this is what we were trying to look at a minute ago, and it wouldn't do it. But basically you just put 2 fingers on the trackpad and spread them apart to zoom in and out. So you can see how that works. It's actually quite easy, same as it would on the screen, except you use the trackpad for it. If you do the all maximize the screen, it's actually quite nice because it takes the whole screen. So especially if you're wanting uninterrupted work and you don't want the Skype dilly bouncing and all of that, I think it probably, if you have the sound on, it will show some noises and stuff like that, or play some noises, but it makes it kind of takes it into a do not disturb mode, which I really like. So anyway, and then I would just encourage you to come in here and play around. Obviously in this mode, it took me a while to find like where to save a file, because you can see, I mean, it's not very intuitive in that regard. And to save as, obviously saving as it currently is, that's right here, but saving as I had a harder time finding. But I figured out if you just hold your mouse up here it opens the file, so then you can click on it and go to Save As. So you just have to hover at the top to get that menu to come back up. Yeah, there it is. And then print and things like that as well. So the other thing I wanted to show you on this, let me try and remember, hold on one second. The touchpad, that's what it was, the touch bar. Unlike the PCs, the new Macs have a touch bar, which is these lit up pieces right here, and this changes with every application that you have open. And so I'll show you a couple of different ways that it works, but basically, like if you're wanting to turn off sound or turn on sound or something like that, you just push the arrow here to show all of your options. It has the brightness. You can look at all of the different windows open, which I don't have many open right now. Brightness of the computer, playing, pausing, sound off and sound on, and up and down, things like that. If you use Siri much and want to talk to your computer, that's what this little lit up button is for. So anyway, and then you can get out of the menu simply by clicking the X, and it goes back to your Word document menu. So in the Word document menu, for some reason, because this is a document that has columns and stuff, so it's got a table set out there. So I'm going to take it into the text editing part of it, and you can see it's got bold, italic, all the colors. If you select a color, you can scroll through which colors you want. Anyway, it's a pretty neat little deal. I've actually been pretty impressed with it, and not sure what that is. Oh, that's your most recent documents. I downloaded SugarSync to your computer, and so if you push this document with the clock on it, it's going to show you your most recent documents that you can click on to open. So that's pretty interesting. Anyway, so now I'm going to escape out of this to get to minimize the window. You can do that two ways to get back to seeing your whole screen in your dock. You can either go up here and close the window this way. Actually, the yellow minimize button is not there, so I'm just going to push escape down here on the trackpad. And that takes it back down to the smaller size so you can see your dock and see what else is going on. But I'm going to open Safari, which is the browser that I've set up for you, and I'll tell you why. I know it's not one you probably typically use. It's not one that I typically used before. But I wanted to show you what the trackpad looks like in another app, basically. So you can open a new window by clicking that, or by clicking up here in the little plus sign up here. So let's open, I'm just going to open SugarSync just so we can look at some different things that the trackpad does, or the touchpad does, excuse me. And then I'm going to go ahead and open another window, and let's do GoToMeeting. So we've got two windows open now on the computer, and you can also see these on the trackpad. So basically all of the search feature, you can switch between the windows by touching the trackpad, or the touchpad, I'm sorry. Anyway, so it just gives you an idea of how different every app is, and email is the same way. I'm not going to get into your email because I already feel like I invaded your privacy. Actually, I do need to get into your email because I need to show you how to use Boomerang. So we'll look at that next, and I'll be sure and show you how the trackpad works on that. But before I do, one of the things I wanted to show you with Safari is one of the reasons that I have started using this as my primary device is when I go to set up a new account, and I'm not going to do that on your computer, so I'm not going to be able to show you. But if you're setting up a new account and setting a password, Safari offers to set you a strong password, and then it saves it to your password locker, which you can actually access on system preferences like we looked at before. And under, let me find it, sorry. I thought it was under system preferences. let me just type it in here. Password. Maybe it's under security and privacy. No, no, no. Huh. Okay, I'll have to find that and I'll tell you where it is later. Anyway, but you can access those passwords if you ever need to log in on a different device, but Safari will remember it between all of your devices. So on your iPad, your iPhone, and your computer, and it's a super strong password that you would never remember. It looks more like a credit card number, but it has symbols and letters and numbers in the whole 9 yards. And so, especially with all the hacking that's been going on with our systems, I think that's a really neat deal. So I've started using Safari, and I've set up your Safari on basically with that in mind. So all of your accounts that Terry said you typically use are these tiles here, and any bookmarks that you add, it will just add them here as well. So it'll be a page of tiles if you have too many bookmarks. But anyway, the ones that you would typically use are already set up on here for you with your passwords saved. Anyway, but if you want to obviously use Chrome, which isn't very secure, actually LCU's IT department doesn't allow us to even use it on campus because it's so unsecure. So I didn't even put that on your device, but I have installed Firefox for you that you can use as your primary browser if you prefer. All right, we'll take a look at Boomerang in your Outlook next. Okay, so here we are back at your main screen. Before I open Outlook, I wanted to show you, I just closed Safari and your Word document, but you'll see that there is a little dot underneath them that still shows them as open applications. So they're still open in the background even though you don't have a document or a window open in them. And so to quit them, that's what basically Mac's version of closing an app. You would right click, so we're going to do the 2-finger click down that opens the little menu, and you can go up and say quit. Before I do that though, I want to show you up in options, any application that you have open is going to show in your dock, but if it's not pinned to your dock, it's going to go away and be in your application folder. So if you want anything to stay on your dock or to be removed from your dock, you can come in and just click keep in dock or unclick it for it to be removed from your dock. So Terry suggested you would want these Microsoft applications all on the dock and visible and easy to see. So you can leave them there. And I think I already removed all the ones, actually this mail one I can go ahead and delete because I don't know that you're going to want it. But if you have personal mail or something like that, Gmail or whatever that you want to use, you can use this mail app. It's a nice one. I'm going to remove it from the dock for now though. You can come up to options and say remove from dock. Just like that, and it's gone. To find it again, you can go into Launchpad, and this opens all of your applications so you can see what you have. And it starts with the most recent ones that you had open actually, so that would be these two. So I'm just going to click Mail to open it, and I'm going to add it back to your dock so you can see how to do that. Again, 2-finger double click, or 2-finger click to essentially right click or double click, and then options and say keep in dock. So now it's pinned to your dock and you can move it around to wherever you want it to be. So again, you can remove that if you choose to. I'm going to close it for now. I'm just going to say, I'm going to do the right click and, or the 2-finger click, sorry to confuse things, and say quit, so that black dot goes away and it closes. Maybe, there we go. Okay, so the red dot, by the way, on your applications, that means you have 5 apps that need to be updated, but that's what I was saying, it wouldn't let it do for me with your Apple ID that was logged in. So you'll, hopefully once your devices are all together, maybe it'll decide that you're really you, and it'll let you do it. Anyway, so iTunes, things like that, I know you love your music, so I left it on here, but if you want to move it off your main dock, you can do that. Anyway, so now I'm going to go into your Outlook. So I'm just going to click once on your Outlook icon and it's going to open. And what I want to show you is Boomerang. So I'm just going to click on Boomerang here, and it's going to open on the side panel. I'm going to close this little window just to get it out of the way for now. Say what? Why is it doing that? Oh, because Boomerang. Okay. Okay, Boomerang. I'm going to have to actually show you this on my computer in a minute. Your login for your Outlook is really long, and Terry gave it to me on the phone and I don't remember it. So when you open Boomerang, you're going to have to sign into that again. So it's whatever your Office 365 login is. You have to log into that for your Boomerang. So I'm going to show you on my computer how Boomerang works here in just a minute. But let me see what else I can show you very quickly. Okay, so for a screenshot, let's do this really quick. I'm going to open Safari again, and I'm going to show you how to do a screenshot. It's kind of manual, unfortunately. Unlike a PC, there's not a button up here for it or anything. Oh, look, your touchpad has your favorites on it. That's cool. It's kind of a manual process. I'm going to see if I have enough fingers for it. But it's basically Command plus Shift plus 5. And that didn't work because I didn't push the right numbers because my fingers are not working. Okay, so it's Command, which is this, plus Shift plus 5. Command basically replaces your Control button on your PC. So Control C for copy, Control P for paste, I'm sorry, Control V for paste, things like that. It's all Command C, Command V. So just invert the command for the control and you've got it. But for screenshots on the Mac, it's Command plus Shift plus 5. And it opens this little box here. If you want to record your screen, which I could be doing for this, except for I wanted you to be able to see my hands and the keyboard and all. So if you want to record on your screen something that you're doing, you can use one of these two options. But for this, I just want to say, I just want to pick your favorites, and I want to do a screenshot of that. So I'm going to just slide this up to exactly where I want the grab from. And then I'm just going to push enter, or return, excuse me. Okay, and I believe that it puts it, yes, on your desktop. It's right here. So I'm just going to open that. So you can see it only did exactly the part that I outlined, and it placed it on your desktop. So this is one part that you're probably going to find frustrating, quite frankly, and I know I have, and have found some ways around it, but when you're saving a document, I'm just going to go back into a Word document here real quick. Let's open this one that we were looking at a minute ago. So let's say we want to save this to one of the folders on your device. I'm going to do Save As. On your Mac. So here's what it looks like. It does this drop down, and it only shows really the most recent things that we used. And so it's really actually, sorry, somebody's coming in the door. Moni saying hi. So it's really actually quite a little bit frustrating because you can push documents or whatever, but it only saves it to those places. It doesn't, you can't like drill down to find the folders that you want. And so I always save it to the desktop. So I'm just going to do save as testing doc. You know, you can save it, call it whatever you want, obviously. So I'm going to save it as the testing doc, and then you'll see there it is on your desktop. So then we'll close this, and then to file it wherever you want it, that's when you have to open Finder. This is where you access all of your documents. Like I said, I synced your TE current folder to SugarSync. And if you want more than that, then I'll show you how to add those here in a little bit. But you can go into Documents, open your TE current folder, and let's just say, for example, you want to save it in Basic Docs. And don't worry, I'll go in and delete this out so you don't find it later and wonder what in the world that is. But then you would just need to drag it. Oops, that didn't work. Okay, now it's going to be persnickety. Bear with me 1 minute. Oh, grief. We would need to drag it into, and it's not working. Okay, so clearly I don't have this figured out yet, right? And maybe it's because I'm trying to do it one-handed and that's tricky. But you would drag it into the folder instead of it giving it this quick view. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Okay, forget it. Anyway, you get the point. You drag it over here and drop it into whatever folder you want it to be in. And I've been doing it on my computer, so I know it works. I think it's just because I'm trying to do it with one hand, so I apologize for that confusion. So anyway, but that's the only way I can figure out how to organize the files, and that's a little bit frustrating. Now, once you do a couple, let's say you've used Basic Docs, so the next time you're in a document and you do that drop down where we saw the different options, Basic Docs will probably be one of those options now because we just used it. So it'll show your last 5 or 6 most recent files that you've used. So that helps once you start using the computer, but initially it is a little bit frustrating. And what I've been doing is just at the end of the day, as I'm shutting down my computer, I go in and kind of file all these things away, including moving this to the trash because it's just a screenshot. I've used it, I'm done with it. I don't need to save it. And technically same with this one for now, but obviously as you're working on your documents, you won't want to do that. And then to empty the trash, again, you just do the 2-finger click and empty trash. And yes, I want to empty the trash. So anyway, so I hope that makes sense. And I'm sorry that it wouldn't work on this while I'm using my one hand. So hopefully it works smoother for you, and maybe as you use it more, you'll figure out other and better ways to make that work more smoothly. Like I said, that's really been my only frustration as I've been working with it, is just finding the best way to file things as I'm working and not having to save them to the desktop. So that is that, and I will show you SugarSync next. All right, we're going to take a look at your SugarSync now to show you where you can add more files if you need to from previous computers. But I've got it pinned to your desktop. And like I mentioned before, you can unpin it if you choose to. But here it is. You can see the green, this computer, TE Current. If you want to add something from a previous computer, you can see this one here. I named it LP Mac. But you can go in and add any of these other folders from a previous computer if you want them. You just click the plus sign. Okay, so you can, doesn't look like there's too much in the rest of these, but anyway, you can go down and just click the plus sign if you want to add it, and it'll sync it to this computer. And if, as you use your computer more, if there's more things you want to add, if you want to change your document structure, for example, if you want to, like right now, everything is pretty much in this TE Current folder. And of course, if you add other folders from SugarSync, those will show up in here as well. But if you want to add something else, let's say, for example, go up to File and say New Folder. I'm just going to call it Test just for funsies. But if you create another folder for whatever reason and you want to sync it to SugarSync, all you have to do is do the 2-finger click to open up the panel and click on SugarSync, and then add this to the SugarSync folder, and it'll start syncing with SugarSync as well. For now, I'm just going to delete that. And then next I will show you Outlook on my computer, because I believe that's everything on yours that I was going to show you. All right, before I start showing you the Boomerang for Outlook on my computer, I was just going to show you real quick when your computer goes to sleep because it's not plugged in and you've left the window or the lid open, maybe you've walked away and gone to make some tea or something, to wake it back up, touching the mouse pad, things like that don't work. Actually, it does. Never mind. I was going to say you need to click the push the space bar, but this works too. So let me jump into my Outlook real quick, and there I do want to use this window as well to show you the reason that I like Safari, but I'll do that here in just a moment. I want to show you real quick about Boomerang. This is the thing that you're going to have your Microsoft ID to sign into so that it works for you. But I'll let you do that once you receive the computer. But once you open it, there's all of these options in here. Right now, this is, it's asking me specifically about this email. I'm actually going to close that because that's not what I want. I'm going to create a new email because this is when you're going to use it the most. So I'm just going to open Boomerang so you can see all of the options, but you can see right here, remind me this, some of these options will be available to you at a quick click without opening all of Boomerang, but I'm just opening Boomerang so we can go through each of the options. But remind me, which is what this one would do, this one right here would do for you. It's where you're sending someone an email and you want to be able to follow up with them if they don't reply. I know if you're like me, once you move on from that, you're expecting them to reply, and so you kind of forget about it. So this, you can set it to be anytime that you want to be reminded, and basically it just brings that email to the top of your inbox is all it does. It's not a pop-up or anything like that. It just brings it back into the top of your inbox. Request read receipt and track clicks. That's pretty self-explanatory. Send later. This is actually one of the main reasons that I wanted Boomerang, because especially if I'm working late at night or on a weekend, I don't want to bombard people with emails that they're likely not going to see until, first thing in the morning on Monday, or if I'm working late at night the next morning. I don't want them to be lost in their weekend junk mail or late night mail. I want it to be something that's in the top of their inbox when they get online. And so I can come in here and set this to send at whatever time I want. So when I'm sending something to Liesl, for example, I'll send it at like 2 a.m. my time, because then that's her morning time. And so, my computer doesn't have to be online for them to send. Outlook has the feature to send later, but your Outlook and computer actually your Outlook has to be open and your computer has to be online. And obviously at those hours it's not, or if I'm traveling, it's not always going to be. But with Boomerang and using it this way, even through the Outlook plugin, it doesn't matter. It's going to send it anyway. Whether my computer's online, Outlook is open, or whatever, it doesn't matter. So, so you can pick from the little squares here to make it easy, or you can actually type in a specific time. And the neat thing about this is, here, I'll just do it for a test. I can just say Thursday at 7, and you can see it like pre-populates what it thinks you're trying to say, and then if I click confirm, that's when it's going to schedule it for. One thing you need to be aware of when using this though is you have to use it last, meaning you have to have the email set up and ready to go as you want it before you do this, because once you click confirm, it's going to send the email or schedule it to send. Now, because you're scheduling it, it's not the end of the world. You can go into your draft items and find it and pull it back out and finish writing it if you haven't finished writing it. But just be aware, you're not going to have editing time with it once you click confirm unless you go back in and open it up and do it again. So just be aware of that. Let me scroll on down here. Schedule a recurring message. Pretty self-explanatory. This is something that Terry should and could use on Monday of every week, or Tuesday, or whatever day it is that she sends the reminder from Ryan about SAT meeting topics. Suggest times. This is the one that I was telling you about in the email that I sent. So I'm just going to pop it open. It opens my calendar and shows me exactly what I have. Over here on this side, I can, because my email is to whomever, it would pre-populate this, but because I didn't have, it was just a new email draft, I didn't have a name in it, so It's blank right now, but it would otherwise have the name of whoever you're sending the email to. The meeting title would be the email subject, so I oftentimes come in and change this to be whatever I want the meeting title to be. You can set the duration of the meeting here. If I do a 45-minute block, just for the sake of doing something a little bit weird and different, you can see when I click this, it's going to block only a 45 minutes. And so then I can click wherever, and these are the times that will be sent to that person. So then back over here, I don't usually do location until the end. Once they accept the meeting, I may go in and add GoToMeeting or whatever to it and then update it for them. What I do use, and I love this, and I actually didn't notice this on my PC, so this may just be a Mac feature, but you can block these times. So now on my calendar, these 4 times are going to be blocked until whoever I'm sending the email to selects one. And then the other 3 will fall off, and then the 1 will be confirmed. So that makes it super easy so you don't overbook after you've already offered the times to someone. This is what I sent you, the visual plus the text, but I don't really find that the visual calendar does anything. I've tested it with Terry a few times, and it doesn't show your calendar mixed in with mine, or it doesn't show in your time zone or anything. It's just literally a picture of my calendar, and I just don't find it very helpful. So instead, I only do the text, but you could do however you want, and then insert into email. Oh, it's because I don't have a name in here. Let me just pop your name in. And it's not wanting to do it, so I'm actually just going to do your, I'm not sending it to you, but just for the sake of putting an email in, I'll just do your Gmail since it's shorter and I'm one-handed. So insert into email. So then you can see, this is the text it puts in. Here's some times I'm available. Please click on a time that works for you. Calendar invitations will be sent to both of us. Occasionally, depending on who I'm sending it to and to make it fit into the rest of the subject, I may edit that a little bit. The other thing I do, and I would like to contact Boomerang and find out if they have a way for time zone support. I haven't found that yet, and I haven't contacted them. So what I've been doing is simply coming into the date, and I just scroll to the end of each time frame, and I'll put in my time zone. And if they're not in the US particularly, to make it easier for them, I'll put what time zone it is for them. So this would be, I think, from quick calculation, 5 o'clock UK, and so I'll do this for them, and the same for the 1 o'clock times on both of them, just to make it easier for the person that you're sending it to, so they know which time zone you're talking about. Like I said, I'll try to get with Boomerang and see if I can find a better way of doing that. You would think, especially, I mean, they actually advertise this for organizations just like ours that work across time zones, and so you would think they would have something that would work a little bit better. The other thing that I haven't been able to figure out is how to make this work for more than one person. So if you're trying to get a 3 or 4 people together for a meeting, I don't know how this would work for that, because when one person selects it, that's the time that it confirms. And so right now, this also is only for one-on-one meetings, as far as I can tell. So I think there's still a little bit of research where we can check and figure things out. And then, of course, when the user receives this, all they have to do is click on one of those times, and then it confirms it on your calendar. You don't have to follow up with another invite or anything. The other option, and I don't like this as well, but you can share your availability. So I'll just show you this one quickly as well. We'll just say the next week, and you can choose whether Saturdays and Sundays or start and end times, and you can choose time zone here, which is nice, I guess. And then insert it into email, and you can see what it did is basically sent you a glimpse of my calendar, so you can tell me what works for you around those things. So to me, it requires a little bit more work from the user to do this as opposed to this other one. But as you can see, and I think Terry actually liked this one better in the testing phase, but because she could click here to view it in her own time zone. But it does require the user to do more than just click the time and get back to you. So, so anyway, just keep that in mind. It is an option though. View my schedule. I guess this is not something I've actually really looked at, but you can see here it just gives you an overview of your schedule, I guess, while you're writing the email, so you don't have to come in and get out of the email and go into your calendar and things like that. But you can see the 4 question mark blocks here are the ones that I am sending to you as a test, or I'm not actually sending, but so anyway, this is another good example of it's taking up my whole screen. How in the world do I get out of it? You can either hover up here and click the X here, or you can see on your touch pad, you can just click the escape button and it pulls it out of that full screen mode. Okay, I'm going to click that off, and it did away with my draft email. Is that right? Okay, I don't know. Don't know what it did with it. All right, let's just go back in here. And I'm just gonna, I don't want it to take up my full screen, but I'm just gonna stretch it out a little bit and go back into opening Boomerang so I can show you the rest of the options here. Pause your inbox. I think this would be a good one for like the times that you're working on a weekend. Maybe you don't want to take the time to schedule out emails, but you actually, no, that's not the case. Actually, no, it only moves your incoming messages into a different folder. I guess it's just for distraction's sake, so you're not distracted by incoming emails. And then when you unpause it, they then come into your inbox. So if you're sending emails, it doesn't look like from the little help question mark here, it doesn't look like that would actually change anything. Another thing that I like about Respondable is, or about Boomerang, is this Respondable feature. And there's actually a Boomerang mobile app that I've been using on my phone for this reason as well. It's actually kind of interesting. But I'm just going to type in here, what time can we meet? Anyway, I was trying to get this bar to move. I'm sorry, I'm not good one-handed apparently. I hope I never lose my left arm. Okay, it's actually not moving, probably because I don't have any more in there about meeting. To discuss the project. Let's do that. Curious. So, supposedly, and it has worked before, so I'm not sure why it's not now. Yeah, it's saying it's not very likely to receive a response. Okay, so that's the deal. It's saying it's not very likely to receive a response because my subject length isn't very long. The word count is at 98, which is in the green, so that's actually good. But that probably includes my signature line and all of that, because obviously it wasn't that many words. Question count 2, probably because I have meeting with a question mark on it. And then reading level a 12 plus. I don't actually know what that means, but anyway, on my mobile app, this works really well. It has a bar that goes across the top of the email that as you write it kind of goes from orange to green. Obviously green means that it's the most respondable email, and so it's actually training me to not send such long emails and to get to the point early. Anyway, so I just think that's a really interesting feature in terms of, especially since everything relies on email for the most part. So anyway, I just wanted you to have a look at Boomerang and what it's about. I did download this on your system, and I think there's like a 7-day free trial. something like that, and then it's like $6 a month or a quarter or something, if I remember correctly. I've signed up on mine, but this is what I was saying. If everybody's going to start using it, I have asked Terry to look into a team account or something instead of all of us doing our own individual one. So anyway, it looks like it could be really handy for everyone. I've really enjoyed using it, but I do want to figure out those couple of those little quirky things. But anyway, so that is it for now. I think, you know, some of the things that we're used to in Outlook, we don't have as much across here like we're used to having all the tabs. They are mostly up here in the top panel. And so obviously if you increase this to a full screen view, you're not going to have those. And so I know there's been a couple of times I was kind of lost, but just remember you just have to hover at the top to open those. And then Outlook Preferences is basically the equivalent to options in the PC. So setting up your signature, things like that, those are all in these preferences box. You can see signatures right here. So anyway, you should be able to set all your preferences the way you want them using that option. So anyway, also the other thing I want to show you real quick about Outlook is the touch bar again. Shows you all these nifty things. As you're crafting an email, it shows you kind of like a Word document. You have the editing tools, and then over here is actually the send button. And so you can push it to send the email instead of using your mouse for things like that. I also like that I can quickly navigate to my calendar by using that touchpad as well. So anyway, pretty nifty little options there. So that's it for Outlook help. And next, I just want to show you real quick about the passwords for Safari, and then I'll just let you play with it when you get it. One last thing on Outlook I wanted to show you is how to set up your out of office, because it's not under preferences like we're accustomed to it being, or options in PC. Instead, it's over here under tools and out of office. So just wanted to point that out to you. Bye. Okay, so now I want to show you the Safari password feature that I was telling you about earlier. I received a new credit card in the mail today, and I was having to go on and activate it, and it was asking me to set up an account, so I decided to wait and be able to video it so it can show you how that works. So I'm going to set up my username really quickly. Whoopsies, that was more than I wanted. Okay, and then on password, when I put my mouse there, sometimes just depending on the program, it'll pop up and actually offer to do a strong password for you, or you can click the little key over here and do suggest new password. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is, I mentioned earlier, we were talking about Safari passwords, that you can always access your passwords. And so that is in Safari. Go up to Safari Preferences, and then it opens this window, and it's just because it opened to passwords because that's where I was last, but you can see all of the options here. But passwords, once you enter, this is the computer password, so once you enter your computer password, it will unlock it and allow you to visually see all of your accounts and the passwords with them. So you can always access the passwords that Safari creates for you. And with that, I will leave it to you. You can text me or call me if you have any questions, but I hope you really enjoyed as much as I have. Talk to you later. Happy holidays.